Hello everyone, it's Stafford Associates from OTG Sports back at it with really another review. I'm gonna give another review today. I've been on a little, I guess you can call it a hiatus recently, but I have a really nice episode for you today. I have my Greek coffee with me as well. You know I love my Greek coffee. I love my coffee in general. Um, So yeah, I've had construction in my room. As you can see, I have a different setup behind me. Yeah, so that's the reason. It gave me time for a lot of stuff regarding football. Obviously, a lot of I have some in-depth reviews on the Matthew Stafford to Indianapolis trade, the Matthew Stafford, the LA Rams, right, in the 2009 draft. In the 2009 draft, the Detroit Lions selected Matthew Stafford first overall, and he's been their franchise quarterback ever since 2009. So at this point, it's actually no, it's 12 years at this point. He's been their franchise quarterback. 12 years, right? So it's a good bit. Honestly, he never really had a chance at succeeding. He was always undergoing some staff change at one point or another. They tried to rebuild under him. It's all 3 times. With coaches, with a whole new staff. And now we finally got traded out there. I like the trade. I'm gonna give some reasoning as to why, but first let me give a little history. So 2009, I went over that. But also Matthew Stafford, he's been to the playoffs 3 times. All three in his record in the postseason is 0-3, which is honestly not his fault. He has a shot now in LA, which I really like. They made it to the playoffs. I believe it was the second round, or they lost to Green Bay. In the first round, they beat the Seahawks, but they lost to Green Bay. And they made it there with Matthew Stafford. So with this trade, they got Stafford and a third round draft pick in exchange to going to the Lions. There was Jared Goff, 2 firsts, and a third round pick. And honestly, this is not an overpayment. Within all the time that the Rams have been under McVay, they have never once had a first round pick. So I mean, this is not too bad considering the fact that they've never really had a draft pick high with McVay, and they've still been under relative success. They haven't won Super Bowls, but if you remember in 2018, 2019, the Los Angeles Rams made it sorry, excuse me, I'm drawing a blank. To the Super Bowl, and they lost. Then they fell from grace in 2020. And then last season was a good season. They made it to the playoffs, but I mean, Jared Goff held them back. Anyways, let me get more in depth into it. Before I start giving reasoning from the Rams why this was a fantastic trade, I would like to show a Saints. It was the Lions against the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints have one of the best secondary crews in the league. Yeah, the Saints have a great secondary, and this pass from Matthew Stafford to Kenny Golladay was very in a tight window. Kenny Galladay was getting shadowed by, which means obviously you when you get shadowed, it means you have a cornerback on you at all times wherever you step by a Saints cornerback. I'm not too sure which one, but it was probably their number one. The number one. Sorry, I can't really remember the cornerback's name at the moment. So I'll show you this play. It's very nice, tight window, great. And then after that, there's even down by 40 with the Lions to the Rams, and I think week 11. I want to say week 11. I may be a little bit wrong on that. Maybe it was week 12. But I think the game was week 11. Even down by 40, Matthew Stafford still gave it his all. And listen, they were down by 40, so I'm not gonna give too much analysis. But that game was a tough game to watch, and Matthew Stafford still gave it, literally played with his heart and all of his soul, despite the fact that they were down by so much in garbage time in the game. Then I have one more. There was a game another clip that really just shows how talented Matthew Stafford is. Again, he has this sprinkled out throughout the whole season, throughout his whole career. But I just feel like these three from this past season, from the 2020-2021 season, really showed why people have are holding the Rams so highly at the moment. Then again, there was the Indianapolis drive. After that game, obviously, that was week 6. Week, it was the Lions against Indianapolis. I think it was week 6 or week 7. It was before their bye. They played Chicago in week 16, which week 16 is one of those special weeks because everyone's sort of scrambling and fighting for a playoff spot. Obviously, the Lions were not at the time, but they wanted to keep Chicago out of the playoffs, so they were fighting hard to do that to keep them out of the playoffs. Again, this is from this last season. It was it was 30-20 for the Lions, and Matthew Stafford with 3 minutes left on the clock drove the ball downfield very well. Um, I'll show it to you here. It shows easily why Chicago has an amazing cornerback, has an amazing secondary, might I add. So the fact that Matthew Stafford was able to do this is even more impressive. Golf was very was, and then this it's showing why my argument to why the Rams wanted to trade Golf. Basically, Golf was very good in 2018, 2019 when they made it to the Super Bowl. But that was largely because of McVay's offense. The Los Angeles Rams had a very one-dimensional defense. How can I explain that better? Everyone knew every opposing defense, even the Jets, which I will show a picture here. They stacked the box against Jared Goff because everyone knew against the Rams. Every defense knew that Jared Goff cannot push the ball downfield easily. So that being said, it's very telling and it's just very intriguing to think of and to think of really again what McVay will be able to do with Matthew Stafford. It will become more, it will add more depth to that offense, which I think it desperately needs. And it's gonna be very fun to watch this season. Keep an eye out for the LA Rams. Now on the opposite side, on the Detroit Lions end of things, why would they take Jared Goff? I just said all of this. He's one dimensional. He's not that great of a quarterback, all that. So why would Detroit take him for obviously what is a downgrade from Matthew Stafford? My reasoning to this, Detroit is a team that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Meaning within now to the next 3, 4, 5 years, I do not see them being contenders at all. Detroit is a bad team. They have nice pieces, but they're starting from zero. They're starting a rebuild completely. So I think they did this because they got 3 draft picks, 2 firsts, and a third. This is because obviously as a team that's rebuilding, the more draft capital you can have, the better it is. So that being said, I like the trade on both ends. Obviously, I don't like Goff. I don't necessarily like Goff. I don't hate him, but I don't necessarily like him as a quarterback. I don't really know him as a person. But I don't know. It was good from both ends, like I said. But Matthew Stafford is ways away from Jared Goff, and now I like it. He actually gets a chance, so I find it to be an equal balanced trade. The Lions lost Bollywood is a top 10 quarterback. I'm not really making a list right now, so I'm gonna just say top 10 to maybe it's top 5, but I haven't made a list. So, the Lions have nice starting pieces in Hawkinson, Julian Okwara, who was at Notre Dame last year. I really like that pick. They have Trey or Eric Flowers? I'm pretty sure it's Trey Flowers. And they have Decker Travis. I feel like his first name is Travis, but I cannot remember. But I really like. They have nice. They have nice. What's the word? Foundational pieces, but they need help on the offensive line, which is what I think they should invest their first round pick this year in, their 4th overall pick, whether it be Rashawn Slater, sorry, TJ Hawkinson, Rashawn Slater, whether it be if Penny Sewell is there, Christian Darsaw. There are a bunch of guys at 3, and no, and I like the Jets to pick Penny Sewell, but I mean, if they don't, then he's there at 4. I'd like to see them take an offensive lineman, a tackle specifically. They should really focus on that this offseason. But I will get more to that in the future. Team needs and how much cap they have each team and etc. etc. But anyways, so again, just to recap quickly, I said this earlier, but then I said some other things. It was it was very balanced, in my opinion, a fair trade for both sides. For both sides, right? It was very equal and very fair. There wasn't one team that necessarily won, unless Stafford gets injured, or I hope he does not. But I mean, knock on wood, right? That but like it was very good. The Lions are rebuilding. The Rams got a good quarterback at their series contenders now. I cannot wait to watch the Rams. I cannot wait to watch what Detroit does in the offseason. All that. Anyways, moving on. Now I have the Wentz to Indianapolis trade, which is up in the air, right? It's pretty up in the air as to what one I've seen both sides of the argument, but honestly I cannot believe that it's even in question, because I find it very transparent. I get very black and white as to who won and who took the risk more in this trade. Indianapolis needed a quarterback, yes. But based on last season, Philadelphia obviously wins by a mile. By so much. They got a third round pick. The Philadelphia did. They got a third round pick and a second round pick. It's a conditional second round pick. The condition is if Carson Wentz plays more, or 75% or more of the offensive snaps, this pick becomes a first rounder. That's mind-boggling to me. I will get into it more. I just have a clip first. It's why I think Philly won. Just based on last season, right? If Wentz returns to his 2017-2018 self, which he was leading all quarterbacks in that year in the MVP race, it's equal if he returns there. The Indianapolis got what they wanted, but I still think they paid a good. They paid a certain amount, like not too much. They paid too much, but they didn't get fleeced. So if he returned to his 2017-2018 self, if Carson Wentz could lead the Indianapolis Colts to the Super Bowl, then that would make this trade about even, very even, very. But let me Eagles. Let me just get into it on both sides, and then I'll sort of jump back to dissect each part. The Eagles' offensive line needs crazy help. They have what's his name, Jason Kelsey at center. They have Jalen Hurts at quarterback, a young quarterback. But it needs help, and that's what I think they should focus on this season. I'm very in on the whole. You win games from the trenches. So the offensive line, the defensive line, when I start going over the team needs for every individual team, you you will be able to see why I say that. Every team I think needs offensive linemen or defensive linemen, right? So it's up in the air for me as to who won and who lost. Eagles, I'm very not happy, but Eagles got rid of a horrendous Carson Wentz contract. I believe he was getting paid somewhere in the ballpark of 32 to 34 million dollars over the next 2 seasons. That's terrible. That's honestly, I'm very happy for the Eagles that they were able to get rid of it. I literally saw people saying give Wentz for a fifth round pick. If you need to give Wentz away because that's a terrible, horrible contract. He's being overpaid. Give him for a fifth rounder. They got a third rounder, excuse me, and a second rounder that's conditional a first rounder. Conditionally a first rounder. I explained the condition a little bit earlier. The Eagles are also not in rebuild mode. I think Jalen Hurts is the answer. More of a retool. They need edge rushers. They need another boundary corner beside Darius Slay. They need a whole new offensive line. They need defensive edges besides Fletcher Cox. They need one outside linebacker. They need a lot. And honestly, the fact that they got 2 picks for Carson Wentz could very much help that rebuild. Anyway, so the real question is, can Carson Wentz return to how he was before the ACL tear? In my opinion, yes. In my opinion, no. But if he was to be able to do it anywhere, it would be in Indianapolis under Frank Reich. So it's possible. It's never impossible. But he had many flaws. He held on to the ball for too long. I will play a clip from the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia game right here. I'd like to thank Brett Coleman for this. Brett Coleman, I will give his channel information, but he's a YouTuber that I love. He called this pigeon footing. Basically, when you're a quarterback, your front foot has to be pointed towards the intended area that you want to receive it in. Carson Wentz's front foot would always be slanted towards the inside. I will also show Ben Roethlisberger's foot stance, just to show you what good footwork looks like. So again, thank you to Brett Coleman for that term, pigeon footing. Also, yeah. So Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator in Philadelphia before his ACL tear. So I don't think it's impossible that he doesn't revert back to his self in 2018 just to bring them to a Super Bowl this year, but it's highly unlikely. And listen, in my opinion, my final thoughts on this, my final thoughts are that Indianapolis got fleeced on this trade, giving up a third and a first, a second conditional first. Way too much of an overpay, but then again, Indianapolis is not in the common situation. They're sort of a balls to the wall, win now or go home, right? Win big or go home. That's the Indianapolis way at the moment. And honestly, I can't wait to watch this season to see what happens. Anyways, thank you to you all for coming. I'm sorry it was probably a shorter episode. I need to get back into the groove of making episodes like this. I have not had chances to do so. So hopefully I can get back into it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.